welcome back. We're looking at April. We're looking at all the books we read in April. We all know why we're here. I'm going to give you all the books that I've read in April, my thoughts, my opinions, my rating, and then we can fully submerge ourselves into May because it's so good so far. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So if you'd seen my reading vlog from a few weeks ago, you'll have seen that I started the month off with Mena von Prague's book, The Night of Demons and Saints. Sorry, that's from memory because I haven't got my phone to hand. This is the second book in a trilogy of hers, and I read the first one about a year or so ago, and as I said, if you'd seen the vlog, you'll know I didn't really enjoy this one too much. I don't necessarily want to repeat what I'd said here, but to give you the general gist, this series is, I called it cozy fantasy previously. I likened it to Emily Wilde, but actually looking back now, I'd say magical realism is a better description. It's modern day magical realism, and it follows the lives of 5 women who are navigating life, but are also starting to realise that they are daughters of the earth in a sense. They have this magical ability that's elemental. So as part of them figuring that out and discovering that side of the world, they also develop a real sisterhood. So I'd say actually for the first book, with the plot, which is fairly well done, I think, there was also that big element of building that sisterhood type family feel. The second book I don't really think had much plot to it, and it also had no more character progression to really step in instead of that. So I didn't really get anything from it, and actually I didn't enjoy reading it. I kept hoping there was going to be something that happened, and anything that did happen was a bit meh. The writing is fine, it's just very standard, I would say, not particularly descriptive. I don't want to say that this is all because I'm reading some of the higher fantasy series right now that I'm noticing a big difference. I just think it was a little bit poorly done in this day and age when there are some really epic stories being shared. So all of that is to say that unfortunately I gave this book 2 stars, and I've decided to not continue with the series, so I'm DNFing that series. So one less on my series to continue with the list, and I don't feel in any way bad about doing that. Sad but true. I don't know, have you read it? Am I being too harsh? What did you think? I always try to be really aware of what different books can bring, even if it's not really high action or really high plot driven. And I've definitely read a few of those. You know, Circe I loved. I think that really brought something else into the world of books. But this just, I couldn't find anything that I really enjoyed about this book, which is a shame. Okay, we then did, however, move back into the world of the Kindred's Curse saga with Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. I read Spark and Glow of the Everflame just last month, and I absolutely loved them. I was immersed in that story. This was a 5-star series for me. It is a 5-star series for me so far, and I find it really difficult actually to rate books individually when I love the series as a whole and the characters and the plot and the general the general world. But anyway, I would still stand by rating this 5 stars. This was an amazing continuation of books 1 and 2. I did not mind one bit that it was 825 pages. In fact, I love a good book. If it's gripped me and I'm in that world, give me more. Give me 1,000 pages. Give me as much as you want. I'll take it. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. This is action packed. Honestly, this is absolutely jam packed of plot movement, of progression. It's a page turner. There's no other way to describe it. It's a real page turner. I didn't want to put it down. A continuation of the romance. It's still slow burn. It's lovely. I think it's done really, really, really well, and that just continues at the right pace. It doesn't feel like it's getting rushed or being dragged out longer than it should be, all that jazz. However, we've got one tiny niggle, and that is that in books 1 and 2 there was quite a bit of miscommunication between DM and Luther. Understandable, right? They're on 2 different sides of the world, the magical world as it were. There's no trust there to start with. There's a lot to build, there's a lot to come back from. But in book 3, I don't want to see any more miscommunication because they've gotten past that. They have. And it did feel a little bit like inserting another trope into this book, or reinserting that trope into this book. Like a little bit formulaic. Oh, see, I don't even really want to delve into that too much more because I don't want to criticise this book in any way, shape or form. It was just something that stood out to me when it happened once or twice early on, and I thought, oh, again, really? We're past that, right? So that's my only very slight niggle. So I want to see no more of that. Regardless, loved the book. You have to read the series. I don't want to say anything about the plot because it's just worth going in blind. I really think it is. I have heard A few people say it's a little bit predictable. I get that, I do. However, it's just done so well, and the world is so immersive that doesn't bother me at all. How much can you really conceive of that nobody else could conceive of, really? So absolutely 5 stars. We then took a break from Romantasy and we went in with Richard Osman's Third Day Murder Club. I've been wanting to read this series for quite a long time. I've heard amazing things about it, actually, and I really like Richard Osman. I think he's really intelligent, so I had high hopes for the complexity of the mystery element. And oh yeah, and particularly I'd heard that he'd written the characters really well. It's a group of OAPs effectively in a residential village. Yeah, so this book is a mystery. It's the first of many, and actually the TV series has also just come out, I think, so I really want to give that a watch. It's got some great names in it as well. People love this series and I really want to love it as well. I was slightly disappointed by the level of complexity with this storyline. It read a little bit simply from what I was expecting, to be honest. However, I want to continue and I want to be surprised and I want my mind changed. So I will be continuing with the series. It basically follows a group of older people of the generation who are living in a residential village. They have a thirst for murder mysteries. One just drops in their lap, and so they take a crack at it, and they are pretty damn good. You also get glimpses into their histories and their pasts, which I think will be developed on a lot more in the following books. That is going to be the nice thread, I think, that links them all together. So yeah, looking forward to continuing on. Enjoyable, for sure. It was a nice, steady book. It was difficult to rate it, actually. I ended up giving this a 4 stars. I couldn't find anything wrong with it. It just didn't quite meet my expectations. It wasn't page turning, you know how you do with these fantasy books. I need to like separate all my different genres and just my expectations for each one. But yeah, enough so that I want to continue on with it. And then we kicked back with the Throne of Glass series. You'll see from my last roundup that I bought the box set. I had read books 1 and 2 from the library, and 3, 4, 5, Assassin's Blade, 0.5 were taking a long time to come in, and I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna love this series, so let's buy it. So I did read this after Crown of Midnight, which I think is a perfectly acceptable method of doing so. I haven't read too much into the tandem read later on, but I think that is at least the order that it was released in. I'll put the information here. But yes, Assassin's Blade. This is actually made up of 5 short stories, and I didn't know that going into it, so that was quite a nice surprise. I think that was a really nice way to set up a prequel. I enjoyed it. It was so nice to get back into the world. I wasn't quite gripped like I am in the actual series. I consider this quite standalone, actually. It's nice to know a few of her previous stories as part of her life being an assassin. It makes me think there are more. Query? Maybe not. But none of them, I think, were too much more than you kind of get from the level of detail in the other books. So I actually, at this point in time, I've actually just finished Queen of Shadows, so I'm only that far in, but at this point in time, I actually wouldn't say that it is essential to read this book. It's a nice to have. Would you agree? Would anybody else agree with that? I've not seen too much said about this one in particular. It's all around the series as a whole being just fantastic, which it is, spoiler alert. But yeah, nice to have, not essential. Even going into the next book that I'm about to show you after this, you get enough detail when elements of these stories are brought up to give you the general gist of what happened. So yeah, jury's a little bit out on this one. I gave it a 4 stars. Again, like the last book, nothing wrong with it whatsoever. But yeah, not quite that 5-star feeling that the series gives me. Then we went straight in with Heir of Fire. This, I think, is a perfect middle book. There has to be one in every series. I completely appreciate them, actually. I really enjoy the slower pace sometimes of just learning and living with the characters in the world, learning more about them, letting them just figure things out. I think it's all essential, and I think that was this book. I, by chance, saw somebody, because, you know, the algorithm is listening to you at all times, but I by chance heard someone say that they found this book boring, and I was like 50 pages in or something, and I thought, oh no, I really hope that's not the case, because I want to love it, obviously. But actually, I disagree. I completely disagree. I wouldn't say this is boring at all. I actually think a lot happens in this book. I mean, it's fairly sizable. It's 550 odd pages, but a lot does happen. It's just that it's slightly slower paced. But that said, I only I can only say that now because I've got the context of reading Queen of Shadows that comes next. I actually think this is probably in between Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight and Queen of Shadows in terms of pacing. They actually slightly increase each one, and do you know, things like that just make me genuinely in awe of the level of detail, complexity and depth to this world. I think, I mean, you'll see in next month's wrap up, I'm sure, because I'm continuing with the series. But the more and more I read, the more convinced I am of how just epic this series really is and this world really is. There's just not a stone left unturned, and I'm starting to remember little bits now from the previous books that link into this one and the next, and it's all linking up, it's all making sense. Names are popping back in. So yes, this was a good 4 stars. I originally actually rated this 5 stars on my short, short that just rounds the books up of each month, and now that I'm reading Queen of Shadows, I have dropped it down to a 4. I don't do 0.5, 0.25, 0.75. I just think that I would lose all meaning of what I'm trying to achieve if I did that. So this is now a 4. Really, it's a high 4, obviously, but it didn't give me that feeling that 5-star books do give. Couldn't fault it, wouldn't change a thing, but it didn't give me that 5-star feeling, and I've learnt my lesson. Those books are still a 4 for me. I need to keep my 5 stars elite for those that just give you that 5-star, 6-star feeling. 4 stars, but a very, very, very good 4 stars. But yeah, that's everything I read in April. Super happy, just because I'm really dedicating time to reading at the moment, and big chunks of it as well. That reading vlog really helped sort me out in that respect, and it's just enjoyable. I love it, and these books in particular have just sucked me right in, so I feel like I've been in whole new worlds, and it's been fabulous. We're also well underway into spring now in the UK, and it's been probably the best spring for multiple years, which means I've been doing a lot of reading outside, which has been absolutely fantastic. So all in all, it's been a fantastic month. What was the best book that you read last month? Let me know. With that, I'm gonna now fully immerse myself in a new book this afternoon, and I'll see you back here in a few weeks. Bye.